What is your party's next move as Zimbabwe gears to move on in the Second Republic?
The MDC-T is clear on its mandate. It is an opposition party which has got the mandate to hold the government to account, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing. But rather than what we've been doing for the past 28 years, we sat down at the standing committee and decided that we have to move away from the politics of just criticizing. Zimbabweans have suffered enough over the past 28 years, and we are now saying as a political party, we need to show that we have the courage to be different. We have the courage to move towards development in this country, which is what is critically important. Zimbabweans' livelihoods has been decreasing on a daily basis. Right now you find that most families live on less than 35 US cents a day, and we don't have time to be cheap politicking. But what we can do is to aid the government that is in power right now with ideas on how to move this nation forward. We just cannot be criticizing for the sake of criticizing. We need to ensure that every Zimbabwean has got a sustainable livelihood, has got a job and a decent salary. That is what is critically important to us as a party. We are a party that is underpinned by constitutionalism, that is underpinned by non-discrimination, devolution of power, and that is what we want to see going forward in the next 5 years. That is what we're going to be advocating for. We want the Constitution to be upheld as the supreme law of this country in our quest to ensure that human rights become the order of the day in this country. Instead of just criticizing for the sake of criticizing, we are going to be working towards a developmental, transformative society, which is what is critically important, and to unite the Zimbabweans to be able to speak on one voice on serious issues which affect every Zimbabwean regardless of political party affiliation.
Are there any chances of your party joining hands with Chamisa's proposed United MDC?
To be frank, like I said earlier, we are a party that is underpinned by constitutionalism. So long the constitution is not being upheld as supreme law of this land, we find that that unity is going to be very difficult to be put in place, because we are a party that follows what is written in the Constitution of Zimbabwe. And as it stands right now, we haven't seen the compliance or adherence to the Constitution in our erstwhile comrades. We can only start talking of negotiations or holding hands when we agree on fundamentals which divided us in the first place, which is constitutionalism, gender justice, and labor justice.
Okay. And what are your views on Nelson Chamisa's intentions to be sworn in as president and to announce a parallel cabinet?
Unfortunately, we do not have the mandate to speak on behalf of the MDC Alliance. We are the MDC-T. We will just wait until they have done the so-called inauguration or the formation of this parallel government, and then we can give our comment. As it stands right now, we cannot comment about it because we haven't seen it happening, and we will only give a tangible comment when we have seen what it is that they are planning on doing.
But in your view, is there any need for his actions, both individually or as a party?
The Constitutional Court in Zimbabwe is the apex court, and its decision is final. We would expect him as a lawyer to abide to the Constitutional Court decision, but alas, he thinks otherwise. So we will wait and see what he is intending to do, like a qualified lawyer and advocate as he is, and then we will put our comment as a party.
But don't you think that will cause instability in the country? In your view, do you think that might cause instability in the country?
In my personal view, not on the party's view, I would say that it is very unnecessary, and we do not need to be at this juncture, at this point in time. What we need to be doing, we want to see an opposition that is holding the government to account, that is aiming at moving the nation forward. That is what is critically important. Zimbabweans are tired of frustration, of hopelessness, cashlessness, and everything else. We should be plugging in our ideas on how to move the country forward. We've been playing this politics of blame games since 1999, and we are saying going forward we need to work together collectively and reunite Zimbabweans regardless of political party affiliation. I can give you an example of what is happening in South Africa about the land issue. You'll find that the ruling party is speaking on the redistribution of land. EFF and opposition is speaking about the same, and the other political parties are speaking about the same, because it is an issue of national interest. We have to move away from cheap politicking and ensure that we prioritize national interest issues regardless of our egos or power games.
MDC-T, led by Dr. Cooper, is accused of being a ZANU-PF project created to split MDC Alliance votes. What's your comment on that?
My comment on that is utter nonsense, utter rubbish, because the MDC-T led by Dr. Thokozani Kupe has never received any cent from ZANU-PF. We have never worked with ZANU-PF, and neither are we a project of ZANU-PF. It is evident, it is clear who has been working with either factions of ZANU-PF since the pre-election period. So it is actually folly and myopic for anyone to suggest that MDC-T works with ZANU-PF, because we actually failed to hold rallies because we did not have funding to do the same. We are a party that is moving with the founding principles of the MDC-T, which we find to be crucially important. We are not a party that is thriving on power games or egocentrism, but we are trying to go back to the founding principles of the MDC-T, which is to ensure a just, free and fair society for every Zimbabwean with equal opportunities for all.
There was a legal battle over the use of MDC-T now. People want to know what the abbreviation MDC-T stands for.
MDC-T stands for MDC-T. There was a legal battle, there was a legal wrangle, and in 2005 when the party split, Welshman Ncube went with the name MDC, and for the differentiation in the 2005 elections, the party was renamed MDC-T. And when the party split, the leader who was supposed to be the president of the party, Dr. Thokozani Kupe, by proxy of her being the only elected vice president, went with the name MDC-T. It is rather unfortunate that Zimbabweans prefer to major on minors of party names rather than the issues that are affecting them on a daily basis. We should focus on the issues that we're facing, find solutions for them, and solve the problems that we're facing as a country beyond political party names.
So T doesn't stand for Tsvangirai or Thokozani?
MDC-T stands for Movement of Democratic Change. The T is just an acronym which was meant to differentiate between MDC Alliance and MDC-T.
Thank you very much.
As a woman yourself, are you happy with the new cabinet, representation of women in the new cabinet?
I am definitely not happy with the representation of women, because our constitution is clear on section 17 about the issue of gender equality. Section 104 also speaks to the issue of gender balance in appointment of ministers. But what could have the president done? Zimbabweans didn't vote for women. We only have 23 women in parliament. And it is rather unfortunate that our political parties in Zimbabwe do not comply or adhere to the constitution. They do not value the constitutional provisions in regards to gender equality. So sometimes we can cry folly, we can complain, but the buck stops with us women. Are we doing enough to support other women who want to get into political governance spaces? Because that is what is critically important. We only have 23 women in parliament who were elected into office, and that is also a major crisis when it comes to appointment of female candidates. So going back to the drawing board, women need to be conscientized on how important it is to vote for other women, because they are the ones that will be able to raise their issues. And going forward, we are also calling upon the ZEC, which has got a mandate to ensure that there is gender balance as we go into elections, to ensure that when they exercise their delimitation of constituencies, they also do a gender delimitation and ensure that there are stricter provisions in the Electoral Act that will empower women to be able to run for offices. If we've got a section in the Electoral Act which complies all political parties to ensure that there is equal representation of candidates in constituencies, we will be able to deal with the issue of gender equality. We expect the ZEC to be able to push that, or the political parties themselves, or the legislators in parliament, especially those who went in with the proportional representation. It is critically important to note that proportional representation sits and with this year's election. In 2023, there won't be proportional representation. So the mandate and the onus is on all women of Zimbabwe to be able to fight for us to have an electoral act which is gender sensitive, and to have stricter provisions to ensure gender equality as enshrined in section 17 and section 56 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much, Linda Masarira, for your time.
You're welcome.